This is part 3 of a seminar I gave at the 2014 Western Washington Sportsman Show in Puyallup, Washington. We're talking about drift fishing artificial eggs. Drift fishing is a staple fishing for steelhead in the Pacific Northwest. Many guides use artificial eggs for fishing steelhead, and you can too. Here in part 3, I'll talk about choosing water and fishing effectively.
So yarn gives you a little extra choice. Real important on yarn, guys, it's not 2 inches of yarn. It's a little bit of yarn. You'll notice my yarn, how short it is. I cut my yarn, it doesn't go beyond the hook, the bend of the hook. Okay? I see guys out there dragging 2 inches of yarn on both sides. It's not helping you, it's hurting you. You're not floating properly. Here's another great thing about yarn. It's a synthetic. And it is great at holding your favorite scent. You don't always have to use the gels. You can use the liquids, and it holds scent in there. Remember, scent is okay. Fish smell parts per billion. If you're using a quality scent, you can scent that up and fish it an hour, pull it in, and it'll still be a little oily. You can still smell it. Well, that smells good. Whew. I'll tell you what. Let's talk about our water. How many of you guys, when you're drift fishing, are losing gear? Losing gear. Who loses gear? Shoot, I'll raise my hand on that one. Okay. When you're drift fishing eggs, you do lose gear. And you know what? If you're not fishing hard and you're not losing gear, you're not fishing. Right? You're going to lose gear. I've got days I'll go through 40 liters in my boat. And that's just the guy that's in the front. Okay? It happens. You're losing gear. Because these steelhead like to get up in this stuff. They like to get up underneath there. Of course, there's no fish under there, but they like it. You're going to get into the botanical obstructions, right? You're going to hook up on that stuff that's under the river. Down there sitting on the bottom. It happens. When you fish artificial eggs, you will lose so much less gear. The key is getting the weight correct. Get the weight correct, but you'll lose way less gear. Now, let's talk about fishing holes. We're going to touch on seams and edges, and then I'll take some questions. All right. I've showed up to the river, and I'm here to fish. Throw my waders on, and I walk right out there. It's time to fish. And here comes a drift boat or a sled coming by, and he's casting his gear toward me, and I'm trying to cast my gear far out there. Somebody is doing it improperly. Real quick story. 2 years ago, Skycomish River, just down from Lewis Street. It's about the 3rd or 4th drift. There's a guy standing on a gravel bar. He's got water up to here. How deep does steelhead like to sit? 3 to 8 feet of water. On the other side of the river, it's 15 feet deep. And that's where he's casting. I know what's going to happen here. I tell the clients, reel your stuff in real quick. Okay, they reel in. What's going on? All right, cast it one more time. Because I want this stuff to drift a certain way. So they cast it out there. As we drift by, their gear's probably sitting, about that far away from that guy in front of him. It's okay. He's already through his drift. I timed it all. He's coming down this way. I'm not going to hook his gear. He's not going to hook our gear. But my client hooks that fish that's right there. And then we go down, and then we run back up, and we do the same drift again. And I say, all right, you guys ready? Go. Throw your gear. Boom. And we go right by, then we get that fish that's right there. And the guy looks at me, and he says, I guess I should back up, shouldn't I? You can stand there as long as you want. I'll keep trying to get those fish. But yeah, they're right at your feet. Because a lot of us get in the water, we stand still. Fish will acclimate to you just standing there. If I walk into this corner and stand there long enough, they're going to come back and go to that corner. Right around you. There's TV shows about this stuff. It happens. Those fish, he'd been standing in the river long enough, They reacclimated and he came up. The point is this, and when you're walking down to the water, if you're unfamiliar with the water, if you don't know where those fish are holding, watch and see what's going on. Maybe you should consider staying out of the water and fishing the spot that you think you're going to go into first so you can get fish. I've shown up at a place to bank fish, and there was probably half a dozen guys, and they were standing in the river. I'm on the dry bank. They're about where the wall is back there. Not too far, 25 feet. I took my rod. I just pulled some line off. And I just dropped it out behind them. And I went through a little drift right behind them. Just from here to there. Boom, fish on. Guy turns around, he's like this. Turns around. Like, I did something wrong. But the fish were behind them. It happens. Check the water. Understand where they're holding. They like 3 to 8 feet of water. Will steelhead get in deeper water? Yes. Yes. Skagit, skycomish, snohomish, cowlitz, Lewis, even the Columbia, 3 to 8 feet of water, they love it. And that's where you're fishing them. Okay? So when you are out there and you want to catch fish that are here, then where you're standing is fine. You want to cast a little above where you're standing. Not up there. Okay? You want to cast a little above where you're standing. You're not actually fishing until your gear gets about here because it has to settle. Now we're fishing from here to there. That's it. Once our gear gets there, we're done. Reel your gear in. You get down here, and I see people do it all the time. You're not on the bottom. The river's pulling it up. You have tension on the line. Your gear's coming up. Reel in quickly and do it over again. If I want to fish that water, then I need to go up here and reposition. Okay? Got to reposition. If I want to fish the water down here, then I need to move down. You need to cover your water. You guys need to look for seams and edges. What are seams? What gives us a seam in the water? A seam is where slow water meets fast water. You'll see it. You go out there and you go, look, it looks like a line. Yes, it's a line. It's called a seam. Fish love to sit right on the inside of that slow water seam, and they'll hammer anything that you push by them. So when I cast, if I've got the fast water seam on this side of me, toward me, and I cast up here, I'm going to put my stuff about 2-3 feet on the other side of that seam, because as it settles, I'm riding right down the middle of that seam. If you're in a boat, it's even better because you can get your gear in that seam and you can stay in that seam. Okay? It's very important, guys, and I mentioned this before, that when your gear is out there and your line is out there, follow your line with your rod. If you're talking to your buddy, hey, did you see Seahawks? Oh yeah, I saw them. That's fine conversation. But watch your line with your rod, because if your rod's here and your line is over there and the fish hits, even if you set up, you're pulling the gear sideways. So you need to follow your line so that when you set the hook, you're straight up and down. You'll hook that fish and you'll keep them on. Follow the line with your rod. How many times do you think I say that in a day? Seriously. They're paying money to go catch fish. Follow your line with your rod. You just got to hit. What? Well, they don't know because they're not managing their line, right? And we haven't even gotten into just the fundamentals, guys, of just setting spinning gear, setting this at the top point, holding your rod properly, touching your line, right? So that you can feel all that extra sensitivity We haven't even gotten there. We're just talking about getting the eggs on, making them the right size, getting the yarn on, the scent, and all that stuff. Steelhead are not a given. Not a given. Who caught steelhead the very, very first time you went out? We'll have at least one or two. Boom. It happens. But look at all the other people that didn't raise their hand. It happens, right? You have to work at it, but it's not that hard if you just follow a few simple rules. Color, scent, smell, balance, all those 1,500 rules, okay? So follow your line. Edges. Where are we going to get an edge from? The most common edge that you'll ever see. Can anybody take a guess? No, the rocks are going to give us seams. Yeah, shadows. That is the most common edge you will see on the river, okay? You will get shadows, whether it's from a 60-foot fir or it's from some brambles and some stuff like this on the river. When those shade marks are along the river, fish the inside edge of those, because those fish love to sit just on the inside of that shade and attack what's coming by them. Okay? So you have to look at that. So our flow is not that great here. Let's try the little pink guy just to see if they like pink today. What do we have for questions right now? Got a few minutes, and I want to touch on one other thing with you guys. Nothing? No questions at all? Yes, sir.
I noticed you used all spinning.
Yes. I'm going to drift fish using spinning gear. When you're fishing, he grabbed it. When you're fishing gear this light, fishing level line tackle, it's not fun. And it's tough. What else? No? Yes, sir. Yep, real easy. Don't complicate this. Don't get your eggs and try and thread and macrame and all this stuff. Take your eggs. No, seriously. I've seen some really funny stuff. Just take your eggs. Now on this stuff here, these are the real small ones. I tied a couple together just for the balance and the float just to get right. I just threaded them right on the hook. They're cheap. No, I'm serious. I'm not trying to get you to buy more product. I'm just telling you, they're cheap. And so just take them, thread them right on the hook, run them right up in there, and put your yarn on. You're totally good. I really like these clusters by beau-mac. They're unscented, so I get to put my own on. And man, I'm telling you, they just stay on the hook. They're really good. I like them. On the easy eggs, on these easy eggs here, just grab one of the center balls, like right there. Get your hook. This is going to be harder to get on that hook point than you think. Get that on that hook point, just put it on and hold it just like that. We're not king fishing where we're getting like a baseball size of eggs and putting them on there, right? We're fishing for steelhead. They like small, delicate presentations. Just put that egg on there. Fish hits and it rips it off. Grab you another one. You've got more clusters than you can get away, than you think, in one bag of eggs, whether it's easy eggs or the beau-mac string eggs. So don't overcomplicate it. Don't try and, open up your egg loop and tie eggs around in a circle or something and get them in there. Just put them on the hook. Okay? All right. Last thing I want to touch on, guys, is this. When you go to the river to go steelhead fishing, go fishing. You're not going to tie tackle, to tie your gear. Go fishing, all right? I see this all the time. I see guys standing on the bank. I see guys in the boat. They're frustrated because they were just there, but now they're tying their gear, and I drifted by and we hooked a fish. Or another boat hooked a fish, okay? If you're in a boat, have a leader tree. If you don't have a leader tree, have something like this. Tie all of your leaders in advance. if you're going to tie up some easy eggs real quick or some beau-mac string eggs, you're going to pull off some, that's okay. But when you're tying hooks and leaders, you're wasting time. You have to fish effectively and efficiently, and it's not efficient to go to the river and tie. One thing that this company is here, you can see their product outside of this. This is a leader roll. You can put all sorts of stuff on here. They even have something that'll go into a boat if you don't want to spend big dollars like I've got for leader rolls in your boat. They've got something for you, but this is as simple as this. You can take this and hook this onto your fishing vest. You can hook it onto your waist. Your leaders are done. If you're fishing and you break off, you pull that in, you reach up, grab a leader, and pull it off. Oh, I forgot to peg that. And don't lose it in the water. But you pull that leader right off, grab your leader and tie it on. You're not goofing around, sitting, okay, well, let me tie an egg loop. You know, and then you're like this. This is my favorite pose. We've all seen it. You've done it. I've done it. It's just I finally got to the point where I said, you know what? I can tie leaders and watch TV at the same time. Right? Multitask. So hook 'em good makes these, they're great. And they're inexpensive, right? Get ready to fish, go fish. Fish when you're on the river, don't tie tackle, okay? It's easy, right? That's about all I've got. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, track me down.
That wraps it up for this 3-part seminar about drift fishing artificial eggs for steelhead. If you missed part 1 or 2, make sure you go back and watch them so you get all of the information you need to be successful drift fishing with artificial eggs. I look forward to seeing you guys next year at the 2015 Western Washington Sportsman Show. Until next time, thanks for watching.